Good morning. We're going to have some experiment and exploring through RoboForm in this video. I say morning, it's 11:11 a.m. here in Fresno, California on December 16th on a Thursday, 2021. And I have with me today Chuck Riley, who we did a video. Well, I think we've done more than one video, and I've got you up on screen now, Chuck. Didn't we do more than one? Do you remember?
Yes, we did. We did 2 or 3, and then we had one that lasted, seemed like an eternity, 4 or 5 hours.
All right.
You have to set aside a whole day to review it.
Yeah, I'll have to put some links in the description below this video so that people can go back and look at those videos if they care to. One of the things I think we did, we transitioned you from an old computer to a new computer.
Yeah, quite some time ago.
And let's see, you had some functional questions about a few different things. And one of the things that we did is we installed RoboForm because you wanted a password manager.
Right.
And you called me a little earlier today with struggling to figure out what the master password was.
Exactly.
You had it written down in a notation form, but it wasn't quite working. I'm guessing that you probably tried putting it in and it didn't work. Is that right?
Right. As putting it in, I don't recall how I originally did it, but after talking to you this morning, I looked at it and you suggested that I would use one capital letter, and then it did work. And then I looked at my paper, and lo and behold, the capital letter in question was bold right on my notepad.
On your note, you wrote it in a capital to remind me.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So for that password, one of the things that I coached you into doing was to use a phrase that was a sensible phrase that was not obviously a password.
Right.
And so you wrote that phrase out with spaces between the words. And you weren't sure if those spaces were to be included in the password. So my response to you this morning was, well, I would typically coach a person through to write it out with spaces, but when you type it in as a password, no spaces. And then also because of what the wording was, and I had a suspicion of which the capital letter might be, and then that's when you realized, oh, it's actually written that way on the note.
That's true.
And then when you typed it in, I told you also, you said you were going to be very careful about typing it in, but I said, well, part of that has to be that each time you press a key on the keyboard, you verify that a dot shows up in the password field. Because sometimes there's issues there. I've had people where they'll have numbers that are in the password, and they'll use the numeric keypad, not realizing that they don't have numlocks turned on, so there's no dots showing up when they do that. And there's other things that can happen too. So anyway, the reason why we're doing this video is because once you got into the RoboForm, you were faced with a screen that had a whole bunch of clutter that you didn't know what to do with, right?
Doug, can you hold it for just a second?
I'll pause the recording. Now we've resumed the recording after you took care of your phone call. I'm going to come over to your computer. Now, as I described to you before, I'm going to minimize the display of the Zoom session on your screen.
Okay.
And I'll just click this minimize button on the Zoom session, and that makes it a little image. And then I drop it down a little bit to tuck it behind the image of you and I. So the video recording still has you on screen, even though you don't see yourself on screen. So here, let's see what we have on the screen here. This doesn't look like it says RoboForm Editor. Okay. So on the left-hand panel here, you are in RoboForm, and you've gone down to this one for all. Now, we do want to be a little careful that we don't expose something that you consider personal or private. So in all of this, we see some file names here, and those all look like they're pretty innocuous to me. And these look like websites that have passwords stored.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. So I'm going to go click around here a little bit, and I'm going to blur the screen once in a while. You're not going to notice the blurring.
Okay.
I just want to be sure, because I use a different password manager myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't done a lot with it. Now here I see in this column there's some email addresses.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with those? I can blur
I don't see anything that's personal. That's
Yeah, it's just email address. Some people are sensitive about their email addresses getting public exposure, but I haven't seen that really comes to anything amongst my YouTube videos. So I'll go ahead and unblur this. Agreed?
okay.
All right. So what we have here is I went to the top, the first menu item here for logins, and it's showing all these different sites that have passwords or credentials stored, and then here is just an alphabetical listing of them by file names. This is all stuff that I don't think you'd ever have occasion to go into or deal with. Let's go look at bookmarks real quick. And here's different websites and their actual URL addresses. Again, there's nothing there that is of private nature. Agreed?
Doesn't look like it.
All right, so I've unblurred that to show what that looks like. And then we'll go down to applications. Again, I'll blur it just before switching to that. And there's nothing here of interest. There's a bookmarks bar and a favorites bar. We can expand these, as these are going to show what's on your bookmarks bar probably. And going ahead and click that and click another level down and another level down, and there's just not much there at all. If I keep clicking down, I might find something. The favorites bar, expand that. And there's just nothing in there. If I click on it, still I click on it, and we've got nothing showing up. Identities next. And there's nothing in this area. Again, I'm not familiar with this, and I don't think that people who use RoboForm probably spend any time going through these menu notes. I think or these menu options. I think these are things that are probably available for people who want them, and the people who want them really care about them. So here's we're on safe notes, and there's nothing in this area, and it's pretty easy for me to do is that you probably click here on this plus sign, and it even tells us in that little bubble window that add new safe note. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And this might be, you might call this my family, oops, slip on my keyboard here, my family secrets. Oh, I just got messing up with my caps lock. Let's see, family secrets, and click OK. And that should add an item here, and you can just put all kinds of information in here that you want to keep secure and private, and this would be a place for you to store secure and private stuff. So now we see in this tree type of directory here, here's this one that we just added called Family Secrets. So in order to even get into this area, you had to put in your master password. So this content is not available until somebody can put in the master password. So it's just a place for you to keep whatever you might be wanting to, keep digitally safe. Then I'll go on to this all, and it looks like, this is going to give us essentially all of your stuff. So here's unsorted bookmarks. If I had drilled down far enough on that bookmark section to get to expand the unsorted bookmarks, that's where apparently your content is. If I collapse this bookmarks bar, then there's a favorites bar. If I collapse that, well, that's already, now here's the favorites bar. So these are just all your, apparently, sites that are, your credentials are stored. And at the bottom of all that is your family secrets.
Oh, okay.
So when we clicked on all, we're seeing all of this content combined in one area.
Okay.
And then if we go to Security Center, this shows your websites and actually has the passwords. And it's telling us here that all of these passwords are considered to be weak and
Right.
very easy to crack. So this would be an area that you could use to guide your work in firming up those passwords. Over here, let's see, that's not showing as clickable. I want to try clicking on one of these and see if it takes us to that website. Can you pick one of these that's okay for us to pick on and maybe even go change the password for it?
Yeah, try that Weapons World.
Weapons World? Okay. So I'm going to blur the screen here just before I click on that and see if that'll actually take us to it.
Because I'm not familiar with that. It's probably something that I was looking up as far as a handgun is concerned or something of that sort.
All right. Here I see over on the right-hand side, there's a login prompt. So that's how we'll get to that. So
Okay.
when you have your mouse anywhere along the row for any of these, you get a login prompt out here.
Oh, gotcha.
So
I see that.
that's what's going to take us to it.
Okay.
So I'm going to blur the screen and then click on that.
Okay.
And then once we decide it's okay to show that content, we'll do so. Now the blurring only blurs the small text print. Major big items are not so blurred. So yeah, this looks okay. Do you agree? For me,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
unblurred.
where I looked at some items.
All right. So here it's saying be the first to learn about the new products received. It wants an email address here, and here's the RoboForm icon.
Okay.
All right. So we'll just click right in here and see if that'll fill in your email address. I don't think so. I don't think that was your email address. I'm going to guess that was the insecure password.
Could be.
Let's go fill. Yeah, so I'm thinking that's your insecure password, and you're going to be fixing that on the websites. So let's have you go ahead and type in your email address there. Oh, I see. That's a sign up window. We're going to abandon this. We're going to abandon this because we don't want to sign up. We think we want to sign in. So I'm going to escape out of that. And here's a sign up down here. And here's another instance of that number. Here's login over here.
Okay.
Yeah, and then here up here, frequently maintain all your browsing data on Microsoft Edge. This is Microsoft Edge asking if it can, let's see, bring your favorites, passwords, history, and more from other browsers. So it looks like it's going to give an opportunity to import from other browsers. And yeah, this takes us to security settings. So we're not really interested in doing that at this point.
No.
Now, also I see this Weapons World. It says page not found.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like that specific URL that RoboForm took us to is not the main landing page for the website. So I'm going to click on this header, their masthead website name here, and see if that'll take us to their legitimate landing page or their home page. This looks more likely yet.
Yeah.
And I'll click on login register. And here's asking for your username and password, and here is a RoboForm. And when I click on that, well, it looks like it's treating 1934 as your username.
I think so.
And then there's a more lengthy password.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and click on that because it only put that in there temporarily and did not actually submit it until we clicked. And then the password was dropped. So that was odd. I'm going to click this 3-dot menu and ask it to fill. There it puts the password in again. Click down here for login. We could do remember me so that next time you come to this site on this computer, you won't have to, it'll probably just remember your username, but you still have to put in your password. That's typically how that works. So if a person was not using a password manager, using this remember me might be something they'd like to do so that they don't have to enter their username. But because you're using RoboForm, it's not any big deal to have RoboForm enter both of those. So there I clicked on login.
See the little RoboForm logo right here?
Yeah.
That oftentimes when I open a particular site, that'll pop up, and if you click on that, it asks you to do something. You have to log into RoboForm and record something. That's what when I would try to do that, that's when I found out that I was not entering my password correctly.
The master password for RoboForm.
Yes.
Yeah. So here we see the username 1934 is not registered on this site. If you are unsure of your username, try your email address instead. So let's do something here. I'm going to click on this 3-dot menu, and I'm looking to see if it doesn't give me a copy password here. So let's go ahead and have you put in your email address again.
Okay. Is that 1934 going to have to back that out, don't
Yeah, you have to back out of that.
There we go.
All right, now I'm going to click into the password field, and we don't get a RoboForm icon here, but we have your blinking cursor down here. So I'm going to come up here to the RoboForm, and it looks like it's going to put in both of those again. So before we do that, I'm going to highlight your email address, press Control-C to copy it, so that way I can just paste it if we have to re-enter it.
Okay.
And I'm going to click on Weapons World, and then it actually attempted to log in. It didn't keep that password in place when I clicked on Weapons World. So that apparently what RoboForm does when you click on this is it puts in the username and password and clicks the login button. I don't want it to do that. I want it to just, it was doing fill and submit. So it was actually submitting. I don't want it to do that. I just want it to fill. So we get that password. Then I'm going to come here and highlight this username, press Control-V to paste the last thing that we copied, and see if that'll get us logged in.
Now, see the thing in the upper right hand?
Yeah.
When that shows all the time, and it says always wants me to update, but if you click update, I think it will ask you for the master password, if I'm not mistaken. And that's where I didn't remember it.
Right. Since you've put in the master password recently, that might not be true, but we don't want it to remember that password because that didn't work. We still have here, it says unknown email address. So they don't have your email address registered with them. Now, it's quite possible that you simply don't have an account with them.
Probably not, unless it was that 1934, and I may or may not have put in Tailwind 1.
As part of the username, you mean?
No, as a password. Password might have been Tailwind 1.
No, because it told us that that account name, that username that you used, was unknown to them.
Oh, okay.
Meaning they didn't have a username of that like that. They could have had something more than that. Now it's also possible that you had visited this site before you even had RoboForm.
That's true. I'm sure I did. Well, no, because I think this particular visit is fairly recent.
All right.
Maybe a month or two.
All right. So it may be that RoboForm has just collected the websites that you've gone to that can be logged into even though you don't have an account. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But they don't know you by this email address.
Right. Maybe we should look at a search site that I know I'm logged into.
Right.
That probably would be better, because this visit here is simply a temporary look. I would have no reason to go back to this on a regular basis at all.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that you create an account. Now, it also could be the case that RoboForm offered us this website because sometime in the past you may have responded to this update button, not understanding what it does.
I have a hunch you're correct in that regard.
All right. So we could say never for this site, or we could just say not now. I'm going to do not now, and then we'll go back and have a look more at RoboForm. Now I see down here it looks like we have RoboForm still open. Yes, we do. So now this weapons world, it's indicating a weak password, and I'm suspecting that's because you actually didn't do anything there. And on this screen, it doesn't look like we even have a way to display what that password is. If we wanted to see that password, we'd have to go, I think, to this logins, and I'd like to go look at that. So let's go over here and see if we find Weapons World.
Here it is, next
Here's
to the
Weapons
bottom.
World. Yeah, and here it's showing 1934 is the username for that.
Right.
And then I'm going to single left click on Weapons World. And we already saw a place where we could see what the passwords were, and it's not here. Applications, identities, that sounds like it. Bookmarks Bar and unsorted bookmarks. Nothing there. Nothing there. Bookmarks menu.
I'd sure love to have a class with somebody here in town that knows a lot about Mozilla.
Yeah. Well, the problem with doing a class for Mozilla or anything else is every program and website out there can do so much that how do you design a class that's going to answer the needs of everybody who shows up for the class? It's really challenging. So here's the place. When we go to all, we come down to Weapons World, and clearly on the right-hand side here is for displaying that password. Now I'm going to blur the screen.
Okay.
And we're going to display that because I'm guessing you're going to say that, oh, okay, I know that was a very low security password that you might likely use somewhere. So I'm going to undisplay that, but just showing there now unblurring. So I didn't reveal that password. But we don't think you actually have an account there, because when we did the 1934, they said, we don't have that account here.
Mhm.
So let's see if I can right click here and delete Weapons World.
Okay.
Do you want to delete one login, Weapons World? Okay. So then we want to go to a site that you would have an account. Now here's your Bookmarks Bar, and so it's we were going down the tree over here on Bookmarks.
Mhm.
And I think I got down to From Internet Explorer, and then we saw Flying and Links and Media and Yahoo, and I didn't know which of those you might be using. So it turns out that you have everything under this Yahoo folder. And then if we scroll down there, is there a Weapons World? Well, that has a lot of different sub-levels to it. There's a Mozilla Firefox. Let's try this magnifying glass, because I'm wondering if Weapons World is still a bookmark for you. And that magnifying glass isn't popping up anything. So I'm going to give up on that, because there's just too much sub-levels there. Now, what site do you think we could go to that you actually have an account?
I go to my bank account all the time.
Okay. So
on a day-to-day basis, and I think it wants me to tell RoboForm to save the password and what have you.
All right. So we're going to see what RoboForm gives us as far as ability to get there from here. Single left click here, and it's telling us this was imported from Google Chrome. That's where it knows it's from. Now here, this is clickable, because I have the mouse arrow changed to a hand with a index finger.
Right.
All right, so I'm blurring the screen. I'm going to click on that Bank of America Home Personal and see if it takes us to that site. It did not. And then, that says go to right up here. Go to Passcards web page. So here I'm going to try that again.
I'm not familiar with that Explorer, but that bankofamerica.com that's what I have that as a bookmark.
Yeah. Oh, you see when that says from Internet Explorer. Yeah, so that's not really a correct URL. That's probably why that's not working. When it got imported, it's not being clickable there for us very well. All right. Well, then let's just go to the website using your normal method. Do you use Google Chrome for that or Microsoft Edge?
Well, if we weren't, can we minimize this particular screen?
Why don't you just go ahead and get there, whatever method you use.
I would go over here to Google Chrome and I'd open that. And then up here, you see that icon?
All right.
Now I would click on that.
Yeah.
Like that. And then I would put in my username and my passcode.
Okay. And now, I don't see a RoboForm icon on the right
wait
side.
till I put my information in.
All right.
Nope, it didn't do it. It didn't do it this time. Now, I don't necessarily want to sign into my bank account here.
Well, I don't think RoboForm's going to give us a prompt until you do that. And I have the screen blurred.
Okay. There it is.
Yeah, now hang on a second before you do anything here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna display the content of this screen because it does have personal stuff. But I'm gonna pause the recording for a minute and fix my blurring so I can show the important part. Hold on.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so here we unpaused after I created a couple blurred section. I've got kind of a middle area there blurred that conceals some numbers, and I've got your username blurred in that RoboForm box. And while I had the video paused or the recording paused, you commented about you've been paying for RoboForm for almost a year. You actually bought a 5-year license, I think you said.
Yes, it was.
And you haven't been using it because you just didn't understand how to use it. So
True.
I'm guessing a lot of people may have installed or purchased a license for some kind of a password manager, but then not taken the time to figure out how to use it to actually make it worthwhile and get their money's worth. So here, once you logged in using the credentials that you knew, this is RoboForm asking, do you want to save this so that RoboForm can enter it in the future for you?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to click on save to do that. Now we're going to either pause the video or blur every time we click on something because I don't know any time we click what might expose something. So I'll use various techniques for that. Now you could say never for this site, or you could say not now. If you say not now, that means it's going to ask you next time you log into this site. But if you have legitimately just logged in with credentials you want remembered, your normal response should be to click save.
Exactly.
All right, so here I'm clicking save. Now I unpause the video. We briefly got a message up here in the upper right that said it was successful to save that. And that only lasted for a moment. I'm not even sure if I caught that when I unpaused.
I saw it.
Yeah. Well, I'm wanting to show it on the video. So now, so that answered that for this. Now, a question though that we don't know, was that a unique secure password, or should you improve that password?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pause the recording so we can have a more frank conversation about that. Okay, now I've unpaused the video and you've explained that the password that you've got on this account is unique and you're comfortable with the security level of it, so we're not going to change the password. Now we're going to go back to or look at the other list of websites, or maybe we can even just go through your bookmarks through here to find some other website that you feel that it would be a good idea for us to change that password, because I want to show you some techniques there. So are any of these up here, or should we go into this bookmarks folder, or maybe to this overflow menu over here?
No, I think Amazon I use all the time, and I have a password that may or may not be secure on it.
Okay.
But do we need to log out of B of A?
It's not necessary that we actually click to log out, because as we saw a little bit earlier, B of A automatically gives a timeout after a certain while. While we had the video paused, we got a window that popped up asking if we wanted to continue. So clicking log out here is optional, whether you're going to do that. That actually logs you out so that if anybody else walks up to the computer, but I know it's just you and your wife there. So I'll go ahead and click on log out. I'm going to blur the screen. As it's signing out.
It's over.
All right. And then
let's to check another website for password effectiveness. I log on to Amazon quite often as well.
Okay.
and also PayPal.
Okay. Well, go ahead. Let's see. Let me make an adjustment here. I'm going to pause the
Sure.
recording again. We're unpaused. So go ahead to the Amazon website, and I'm going to blur the entire screen as you go there because we don't know what it's going to land on. And that looks fine, right?
If I'm not mistaken, it probably automatically logged me in.
Yeah, I think you are logged in.
Yeah.
It automatically you're probably logged in from your last session.
I don't think that it shuts me down. Well, let's see. When normally I would come down here to sign out.
Okay. Go ahead.
And let's sign out and see if,
Yeah.
okay, here we go. And generally when I sign out, I don't know whether or not if I go directly back up here, Doug, that it just
okay. Go ahead and try it.
I think it automatically puts me back in.
No,
no, it asked me.
No, it didn't. Yeah.
It asked me to sign in this time.
Right.
Okay. All right. You know, this is where I would put in my email address. I used that. And I have, you want me to sign in?
Yeah.
Okay. Oops. Now this is, you want me to put my password in that I'm currently using?
Yeah. Now hang on.
Yes.
This password field does not have an eyeball on the right-hand side for you to click and make sure that you typed it the way that you intended to. Mm-hmm. And this is a situation where sometimes I find people have trouble with logging into a website because something about what they're typing isn't typing the way that they're intending to. So when you have the opportunity to click the eyeball to check on it and you've been having any trouble, then that's a good thing to do. And I just want to mention that here because it might be useful to somebody else. Now, also, before you click sign in, notice that check mark for keep me signed in. So maybe the last time that you signed in, you click that check mark, and that might be why you didn't automatically get signed out simply because you had closed the window.
Yeah. I normally don't click keep me signed in.
Okay.
I do have a couple that I do, just for my own convenience, but I've not done it on Amazon to my knowledge.
Okay, I'm going to take a look here at what this little arrow here is a detail drop down for details to see more specifically what do they mean by this checkbox. Choosing Keep Me Signed In reduces the number of times you're asked to sign in on this device. To keep your account secure, use this option only on your personal devices. So it doesn't tell us, reduces it to what level. It obviously doesn't make you sign in every time because we clicked on your bookmark up at the top and it was already signed in. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and have you click sign in.
There we go.
Okay, then in the upper right, you have the RoboForm asking if you want to remember that. So what you want to do is click on the save button. And we got that message, your credentials have been saved in the upper right corner. And it disappears after a few seconds.
Right.
So now we want to deal with, well, how do we change that password so that it's more secure? And that password, do you think you have used that password on other websites?
I have.
Okay. So I'm wondering if RoboForm is going to report that to you. It typically would, but maybe RoboForm hasn't got to that level with your password management yet, because if you haven't saved that same password in RoboForm for other websites, RoboForm might not yet realize that you're using that on multiple websites.
Right. Okay. I can go to one more where I have used that password, and that would then would give us RoboForm would look at it and say, "Hey, that you're using that too many times, mate."
Very good. Very good. Let's do that.
Okay. I have another one. I'm going to sign out on this account
Okay.
and go to this account.
All right.
And this account is where I allowed them to remember my password.
Okay.
And if I log in, okay, I'm in. However, in order to see what's going on, I have to proceed to my account overview.
Yeah.
However, I am logged in.
Okay. Well, there was a RoboForm icon on the username and password field.
Oh, I missed
implying
it.
to me that RoboForm may already have your PayPal credentials. So let's click the log out button.
Okay.
And have another look at that.
All right.
And then click log in.
Oh, there it is right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now hang on a second. So yeah, it's indicating that RoboForm already has account credentials stored, and it apparently has actually two sets of account credentials. And I've got the mouse for a moment.
Oh, I see. I've used my Gmail address, email address for PayPal instead of Yahoo.
Yeah. Now here we've got an exclamation mark to the right of this.
Right.
All right. We're going to go have a look at what that is. Yeah. When we flip the mouse over that I, it says this login's password may be compromised. Click to view details. So I'm going to click that.
Okay.
I'm going to click that exclamation mark. All right. Now, at the moment, the screen's blurred, so I'm looking around the screen to see if it's okay to display this. And yeah, okay. I think this is interesting. Yeah. All right, unblurring. So what we got over here says this login's password is compromised. This password was found to be on the list of known breached credentials. We strongly suggest that you change it. Use the RoboForm password generator to create a strong, unique replacement. Log in and change your PayPal.com account password.
That's interesting. I feel that I've used this password many times on different things, and I may have opened myself up to a lot of problems.
Yeah. So what this is implying here is that this actual password, the actual clear text password, was found on a list of known breached credentials.
Okay.
And so that could be, we don't know what website that's from.
No.
We can find out somewhat about that, but that's an extra road that I don't think it serves us to go down right now.
Okay.
What we really need to do is to change it. But this means that the dark web or deep web, different terms for it, terms slightly different, but for our purposes means the same thing. The bad guys out there.
Bad guys, right.
Have your credentials, have an email address and password, and they may not know that you've used those credentials for this website.
Right.
But they know that that's a username and password that you have used before. So they'll plug that into an automated program on a computer that'll just go try a bunch of popular websites or highly targeted websites such as PayPal and see if they get lucky.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty significant risk.
That's quite an alarming thing to see right there.
Right. I'm not really interested in opening Security Center here. Not this login button, is that for PayPal? It might be. If this is a link to open the Security Center in PayPal to change the password, then that would be fine. If this is the Security Center for RoboForm, I'm not so interested in. I'm not sure what RoboForm is using here. So I'm blurring the screen. We're going to click Open Security Center. What? Wait a minute. Let me look at the question mark. Okay, here we go. Let's look at that. A compromised password is an individual password that has previously been seen in a documented data breach where hackers released the stolen data publicly or sold it on the dark web. To detect compromised passwords, RoboForm checks against a list maintained by Have I Been Pwned, a service that collects passwords exposed in data breaches. Now that's actually a website, Have I Been Pwned.
Right.
And can I move the mouse? No, if I move the mouse off that question mark, it disappears. But if you were to go to haveibeenpwned.net, I think it's .net, it might be .com, you can actually put in your password, you can put in your email address, and it'll show different data breaches that your credentials have been exposed. But that doesn't really serve you any purpose. The main thing is go fix the password problem on PayPal.
Exactly.
All right. So here I'm going to blur the screen and then click Open Security Center. Yeah, see, this isn't very helpful in my mind. This took us to the Security Center of RoboForm.
Right, it does.
Yeah, and it tells us your security is low, 17%. And then there's this little dash of red there.
I see that.
I think that's trying to show us 17% of a circle, maybe. I'm not sure. But they're saying here you have 42 compromised accounts. And you have 86 weak passwords. You have 21 reused passwords. And you have a total of 103 accounts that RoboForm knows about. So when we previously considered maybe RoboForm doesn't know much of your passwords, this does confirm to me that these are the accounts that RoboForm has something saved for you. But based upon that first website we looked at, it didn't look like it was even a valid account name.
Right.
So what we want to get to, what we care about, is PayPal's security to change the password. And this eyeball over here is going to show the full address for PayPal. And this icon is going to let us copy that address. But if we actually click on that, that'll take us to PayPal. But we already have that open over here on this tab. So we'll go back to PayPal. And all we have to do is log in with your current password and then change the password. Now, here I want to point out that there's the word show on the right-hand side of this password field. If you were to click on that, it would display the password that is currently in that field. We're not going to do that. So I'm going to click Login. So here we are logged in. And what we care about is getting to a place where we can change your password. And this is sometimes a little difficult to find on any particular website. I'm going to blur the screen, come over here to this letter P in the upper left. That's probably just going to take us back to the main landing page for PayPal, which may work fine for us. Or we could go to My PayPal. So there's also a Proceed to Account Overview, which doesn't sound as attractive to me.
What about the lower, this down here where it says security?
Yeah, that can do it too. So to take us to the Security Center for PayPal. So lots of places you might find your path to get there. We'll go ahead and take that one.
Okay.
Blurred the screen and unblurred. So here we have protection you need, peace of mind you deserve, security for buyers. I don't see anything directly here about changing your password. Here's I'm a buyer or I'm a seller. Click on I'm a seller. You're going to get content here that's more related to sellers. So this doesn't really strike me as a place that we were looking for. What it's given us is security for buyers. So it's telling us some things about, how to keep buyer security secure. So I'm now finding myself attracted to personal, the manage money, the new PayPal app, send, receive, shop and buy, no. Developer app, no. Now I'm feeling more attracted to my PayPal or the P over here. I'm going to try the P over here on the left. See what that does. That just takes us to a main landing page. Okay, so still it looks likely that what we want is my PayPal.
Yeah, I think so.
Blurred screen. I'm going to leave this blurred until I decide what we want to look at. I'm going to think it's this gear icon here for settings. Looking around a little bit, check this overflow menu. All right, pausing the recording. Now we're unpaused and have some content there blurred. And what I'm thinking here is most likely is this settings gear icon up here. Some websites, a lot of times what they'll have is a kind of a profile icon in the upper right. And it's very common that the path to get to a place to change your password is up in the upper right area when you get to a screen that has something of use. Now this bell icon is probably notifications. That might be, it might have a number there showing that you have some messages to read from PayPal. So here we're going to go to the settings gear and we're going to blur the whole screen before doing that. And this looks likely. I'm going to pause recording. Resume recording here. What this took us to was a screen that has some tabs. Now these don't look like the common tabs that you would see in a browser, like we see up here. These kind of look more, people would call those tabs, but I call these tabs because the idea behind how this works is when you click on account, this little arrow right here is showing you that this entire screen has to do with the basics of your account.
Right.
That includes your name and shows when you joined and what language you're using, your time zone and your address and all that kind of stuff. We have all that blurred out right now. When we click on security, then that's going to, this little arrow thing here, or whatever you want to call that triangle, is going to move to be under the word security, and we're going to see the content there, which we've already looked at that. We know that it is safe content, so I'm unblurring the screen there. There is a place for create or update your password, and there's a place for two-step verification. Gives an extra layer of security. If you had a weak password, plus you had two-step verification, yeah, you're pretty safe at that point, because it's really hard for them to get past the two-step verification. But it could happen. They might find, the bad guys might find some security vulnerability in the two-step verification implementation of PayPal's website, and they might already have your password because it's in one of those data breaches. So we want to have every layer of security set up properly. So we're going to update your password. We're going to get RoboForm to know the updated password. Then we're going to go look at two-step verification, and I'm going to try to get you interested in doing that because PayPal is kind of a high-risk area for you. If somebody got into your PayPal account, there's lots of troubles that could cause you. Here's auto login. Check out faster without having to log in every time. Manage auto login on your browsers and devices, including One Touch. So I think it's likely that when you go to check out with PayPal, you're probably having to re-log in.
Yes, I am.
Your password. So this would be an ability to make changes to how that operates if you want to make it easier or more difficult. And then there's security questions. So someday down the road you forget your password or lose track of it. A RoboForm, I don't know, what does RoboForm do? Crashes, dies, some other reason that you need to reset your password. That would be a reason to have security questions. However, some people make the case that if you have security questions, then that can give the bad guys a way to hack into your account and bypass the other security implementations you've put into place.
Right.
So that can be a two-edged sword.
Yeah, I've done a lot of them with different ones on those security questions, and I've had to use the same things many times because some of the questions that they want me to use don't apply to me, and or I'm not comfortable with. So if I don't have to use that, I won't.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video that Jay Leno has out where he's out on the street talking to people, and he asks them, does your like bank accounts and different things that you do online, do they have security questions, like things like what high school did you go to, what street did you live on when you were a kid? And then people respond yes, and he says, oh, okay, well, what high school did you go to? And they answer him. What street did you live on? They answer him, meaning the very security questions that he just said you use on your online accounts.
Right.
He just turns around in the next minute and asks them, well, what are your answers to each of these? So the security questions are not really a very secure way to rely on. All right, so we're going to click on update here. I'm going to blur the screen while we get into there and see what's going on. Well, you know what? I'm going to pause the recording and answer this call. Now we're unpaused again. So in the top field, you need to put in the current password. In the bottom two fields, we're going to do the new password. And as you're typing, as always, when you're typing in a password field, you're just going to see dots or something.
Okay.
Just click in that field so that you can get a blinking cursor. And we could have used the RoboForm icon on the right side to enter that password.
Okay, I just wonder if it knows that password.
Yeah, it should. Why don't you backspace over that, and we're going to take a cautious approach to how we do this. I'm going to blur the screen. I got the mouse for a minute.
Okay.
And then I'm going to click on that RoboForm icon on the right side, and there's this 3-dot menu here for the first account. And this one down here is the one that has the exclamation mark that for the password it was objecting to. And we think maybe that's the one that has the problem. This 3-dot menu, when I click on that, it lets us fill and submit. We don't want that. We can fill, and it should have the intelligence to know that this is a password field. And we can edit the stored record in RoboForm for this account. Rename and delete. So I'm going to go ahead and try this fill, or blur it again when I click on fill, and it puts the password in. So we can't really tell that that's the one that you type, except it might be the right number of characters.
Right.
So I'm wondering if that's actually, if those two different PayPal accounts have the same password. If so, it should have objected to both of them.
It should have what?
Objected to both of them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking maybe let's have a look at something else here. Yeah,
See
now that one's on top.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have two different email addresses. Maybe it's that you have two different PayPal accounts with one with each email address.
I'm not aware of it, but because I have always used my Gmail address for PayPal. However, the Yahoo email address is an alternate, I think.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 characters for that password. We'll try putting in the other password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're different. But we think it's this one that we're having trouble with. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to click into the new password field.
Okay.
And then come over to here. There's an option for new password, fill, and generate. So there's actually a new password already showing in the password field. And
okay. Who did RoboForm generate that password?
Yes, RoboForm is suggesting that password.
Okay, so in other words, up above, I've put in my password that I'm currently using.
Right.
And when I went to the new password, RoboForm has generated a new secure password for me and is going to remember it.
Correct.
Okay.
So that saves you from having to make up a password.
Exactly, because I was concerned about that.
Yeah. There may be occasions when you want to make up a password because if you sign into this account using your mobile device,
yes,
are you going to have to type in that password manually? If you don't have RoboForm installed on your cell phone, then yeah, you might have to do that.
right.
If you install the RoboForm app on your cell phone, that means you probably are occasionally going to have to type in the RoboForm master password.
Oh boy. I don't normally, I don't use my iPhone like I do my computer. The only thing that I have from my computer to my iPhone is my, what do you call it, emails. I do look at my emails on my iPhone occasionally, but I don't use it for that purpose.
Okay.
When I do emails, I always come to my computer or I don't make an email.
All right. Let's
I
take
do messages on my iPhone.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, text messages on your iPhone is always going to be tied to your cellular account. Now I can't think of any instance that you would have to put in a password for your text messages.
I don't.
Isn't a thing. But depending upon your email service, you might occasionally have to put in a password for your email account, but that's pretty rare too on a mobile device.
Right.
Let's take a look at what happens here. If I click fill, it puts in that password.
Okay.
Can we display that here? I'm not seeing that shows it displayable to us. Here's a 3-dot button here. I'm going to see if that'll display it. No. And if we go to the settings gear, that's probably going to take us to RoboForm, isn't it? Oh, here it is. There's displaying that password for us.
Wow.
Now, we're not going to use that password for your PayPal account because we just exposed it on this video.
Okay.
But I just want to show this is what the type of password that RoboForm will make up for you.
Okay.
Very, very strong. And then,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that because I'm now under the impression that I'm vulnerable in an awful lot of my accounts.
Yeah. So you're going to need to go through the other accounts and change them, and you'll start that with the ones that are most, concerning, where you have financial risk or you have communications risk.
Mhm.
Communications risk with people is a high priority thing. Even social media, Facebook,
Right.
the bad guys can really do some disastrous things by getting into your social media accounts. Now
Like
here,
like Facebook?
yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Facebook definitely needs secure passwords and two-factor authentication.
Okay.
There's a lot of
Now,
troubles happening. Have you seen friend requests come to you from people that you really didn't anticipate getting a friend request from?
quite often.
Yeah, those are probably accounts that have been taken over.
Yeah. And yeah, I see that quite often.
Yeah. So you
I have
might,
a question. If we had selected this particular password,
yeah,
however, we can't on this one because we have exposed it. RoboForm has created that and remembers it, and I don't have to worry about it. I just log on, and RoboForm will supply the passwords for me when I want to open up PayPal again.
right,
Is that correct?
right.
Okay. So now that we've exposed that, we don't want to use it, so we would want to go to generate a new one, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So I'm going to generate a new one, and I'm still exposing this because I just want to demonstrate on the video what it does. So I
Okay.
click on generate new, and there's a
Okay.
new password.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't instantaneous, which I didn't know that was going to be the case. So I'm going to do a little countdown here. 3, 2, 1, click. Now, there's milliseconds between that, and they're very different format.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Altogether
So
different.
then if we click fill, that's going to put that password into here.
Right.
And we're still not going to stay with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Come back up here and click here. Here's another generate.
Okay.
So here I think I'm going to be able to click this generate. We'll get a new password without it being displayed in full.
Okay.
Yeah. See, it's partially displayed, enough that we saw it was different.
Right.
And I think there's plenty of undisplayed characters there that I think we're safe using that.
Well, somebody would have had I don't know, I guess they could have captured that on their computer, but they would have to.
They could pause the video, but
Yeah.
to take the time and the software to crack that is now, as soon as I flip the mouse over, we still see that, but we'll just go ahead and take the extra level of precaution. I'm blurring the screen now.
Okay.
And generate again. So now we've got a new password.
Yes.
And during the time that that was partially displayed, it was blurred. So now we're back to unblurred. And then we click here to change password. And then RoboForm up here asks if we want to update that. And then this was your PayPal 1 account, and this was the email address that you expected that to be.
Yes, that's the
Right.
correct one.
So we're updating that. We briefly got the message, your credentials have been saved.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to see if we do this other one. Oh, it's a Comcast address.
Oh, I don't use Comcast anymore, and let's eliminate that completely.
Okay.
I don't want anything to do with Comcast.
All right. Well, I want to find out if there is a PayPal account with those credentials, because for us to eliminate RoboForm's memory of that doesn't eliminate the account.
Oh, okay.
So if the account is still out there with an insecure password, somebody could take over that account and then be operating in your name.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And if there's any accounts attached to it, they would have access to those.
Wow.
All right. So here I'm going back to a full screen blur. Clicking on that PayPal, and some of your info wasn't correct. So that is not the correct credentials for an account with this email address. However, that still doesn't tell us if there is a PayPal account with that address. So we're going to try the forgot password procedure on that Comcast account. And they give us a message, enter the email you use for PayPal will help you create a new password. They're offering to create a new password for that. That implies the account exists.
Yeah.
So let's try the next button, see what we get. And what happened is it came back to the same screen with a red box around here. That's implying to me that there is no such account. Now I'm trying to get this exclamation mark to give me more detail. There it is. There's no account associated with this email. Try another email address. So we know we're good there. Now if we go back to PayPal, I'm going to use the back button in the upper left corner to go back. And it wants to, here we get back to it. So now we'll come to this. It's this one that we know doesn't exist. So we'll click the three-dot menu and delete it from RoboForm's memory. Okay. Do you want to delete PayPal? Yes. Obviously, we're not deleting the website PayPal. And then here we have PayPal 1.
No, that's the valid one.
That's the valid one, although it just failed to log in. Now see, there's a short password there.
I saw that a while ago.
Yeah. If I come over this and use the three-dot menu to just fill in the password, there's the long password.
Okay.
And then here, down here is even the browser is remembering this email address, and this is a manage passwords for the browser.
Okay.
So I'm going to click on that, and this takes us into the password management for your browser, which has user, we're blurred right now.
Yeah.
Are these okay to show briefly? Those usernames?
Yeah, that's
look
fine.
like they're probably kind of obscure. I'm not going to scroll down the list and show all of them, but this is the password management capability built into the Chrome browser. And if we scroll down, we'd find more websites. What we're interested in here is the one for PayPal that says that has the Comcast address. We'd like to remove that so that Comcast address is never even suggested.
Right.
So up here in search passwords, I'm going to type PayPal. As I'm typing, the search results change.
There you go. I spotted it.
Yeah. So now I'm going to unblur the screen. So when I typed PayPal, the search results down here, we no longer see all of the accounts. We only see the ones that match that search term. So this one we know is invalid, doesn't exist. We don't want that even to be suggested anymore. So we'll do the three-dot button and remove that from the Chrome browser. All right, then we'll close this tab, get us back to RoboForm. And then let's refresh this page. I want to see if we can get rid of that short password. Where is that coming to us from? Oh, it's coming to us from the Chrome browser because the Chrome browser also had that Gmail account. We want to get rid of that from the Chrome browser because we want RoboForm to manage that.
Okay.
So I'm going to click on Manage Passwords. The screen's not blurred because you already okayed us showing that. I'm going to come up here and type PayPal.
Okay.
And so here we have this one remaining, and that's the short password. So we're going to remove that so that the Chrome browser no longer has any account credentials for
So
this.
actually what will end up doing, everything that my browser has will be using a different password than RoboForm, so each and every one of those will have to be changed, won't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Now you can change them in bulk once you've switched everything over and you're confident everything is done.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually should make sure that I'm correct when I'm saying that, because I know I've gone back and looked at that a couple times and it hasn't worked the way that I thought. So I'm going to come over here to the three-dot menu for the Chrome browser.
Right.
And go to Settings.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the left-hand side, go to Privacy and Security.
Right.
And then in this middle section, click on Security.
Okay.
And let's see, we've got safe browsing choices. You're on standard protection. You could consider going to enhanced protection. It's more aggressively blocks potentially dangerous websites.
Mm-hmm.
The other choice is no protections. And if we keep going down here, did I miss the place for passwords? I think I did. Let's go back a level. Safety check, clear browsing data, cookies, security, site settings, privacy sandbox. So the next place that it may be is in advanced. No. Or am I missing it? Okay, I'm going to pause the recording for a moment. So unpause now. Yeah, I remember now. It's autofill, which passwords.
Mm-hmm.
They autofill passwords. So yeah, that makes sense. But
Right.
privacy and security makes sense too. So I'll click passwords. And then we see up here it says RoboForm Password Manager is controlling this setting,
Okay.
offer to save passwords. So Chrome is no longer offering to save passwords because RoboForm is controlling this setting. However, Chrome still has a bunch of remembered passwords.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. Now there's this three-dot menu here that I
Uh-huh.
think is going to have something for us. No, that's just export passwords. Not going to help. Here's a link, view and manage saved password in your Google account. And I'm recalling this now. So you can go individually down each of these and remove the passwords, but that can be really cumbersome to do. Judging by the size of your scroll bar here, you've got a fair amount of them. Going into the Google account, goes to a different screen. Now the Google account is different than the Chrome browser.
Right.
Your Google account is kind of the master to your Gmail account
All right.
and your Chrome account and your YouTube account. And I think there's some other things that fall under the Google account domain.
Okay.
I'm going to click on that Google account to show where that takes us to. And here we have a similar screen. It's a password manager. To see, change, remove passwords in your Google account, password checkup, 77 sites. Let's go take a look and just ask Google how
Okay.
to eliminate all remembered passwords on Chrome. There it is. Just
Yeah.
down arrow to that because somebody else asked that question. On a Chrome window, click the three dots top right corner, settings, passwords, delete an individual password, select remove, delete all passwords, go to clear browse. Oh, yes, that of course. Clear browsing data from settings, advanced, and select passwords. Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Clear browsing data. So what we want is, I think it said advanced. Here I only half paid attention to what it said. Clearing browsing data on startup, default browser, appearance, privacy, security. Clear browsing data. There it is. So we click on that. And then here's advanced.
Mhm.
Last hour, passwords. Okay, so here, browsing history. I don't know, do you like your browsing history to go back to? You may not even be aware how to do that.
No,
Okay, so we'll go let it clear that too.
yeah.
Clear download history, clear cookies and other data. These 4 that are checked by default, they're just very common
Right,
to clear those. Then here we have passwords and other sign-in data.
right.
And then there's also autofill form data, but it says none. And even in passwords, it says there's none.
Okay.
That's curious.
Well, years and years and years ago, when I first got a computer, I used an ID of US 562845888. And because back in those days, I didn't know what I was doing, still don't know much about it, but I had US 56284 as, well, you can see it right there. That's bwriter.com, this one right here.
Yeah.
See that number? That was
Yeah.
my username 25 years ago when I got my first computer.
Well, this is interesting because that did not delete all of those. Let's try signing out of Google Chrome and signing back in. Did we finish as far as we wanted? Yeah, we know we got that password sign in. We didn't deal with the 2-factor authentication yet. Here, let's sign out. Let's see, where did they do that? Is that hidden by this? No.
When was that sign out on PayPal?
No, I'm trying to sign out of Chrome.
Oh,
Your password for Chrome is going to be your same as your Gmail password.
okay.
Let's see. Sync is on, close 2 windows. This goes to passwords, payment methods. In fact, when I struggled to find the passwords, I could have just clicked there because that'll go straight to it. Other profiles, manage profiles. The pencil button. The 3-dot menu. Click on your profile icon. Close 2 windows. All right, well, I'll just go back in and see if it makes us sign on. No, we're signed in. This is probably another one of those that's a real easy place once you understand where it is. Manage your Google account. Sync is on. And this is the type of point in my videos where some number of somebodies are yelling at the screen right now because they know exactly where to do this.
In other words, you're looking for the sign out for
Yeah.
For Google Chrome?
Yeah, because right now this R up here, this is indicating that we are signed in with your
Right.
Google account, your Gmail account. And we could add another profile. We could sign in as guests, which
Mhm.
maybe effectively signs out. But in my mind of the way things ought to be done, there ought to be a simple log off from here to force us to log in again. So I'm going to try clicking on guest profile here. You're browsing as guest. And then, but see it just opened up another window.
Mhm.
The window underneath still has your account. Now this one right here would be for extensions. This is for uBlock origin, so that numbers there is showing us advertisements that are being blocked. This would be for editing the bookmark for this tab, and that one is for sharing the page. So
Would this under Chuck be where you log in and log out?
well, that's for your Yahoo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, well, then we're not in Google. We're in Yahoo.
No, well, no, not the case. Not the case.
Oh,
We're
okay.
on the Yahoo website, and we are
Yeah.
logged into your account on Yahoo, but we're doing that using the Google Chrome browser where it's logged in with your Google account.
Okay.
So we're logged into your Google account because of the browser, and we're logged in to the website, yahoo.com, which has an email account for you.
Okay.
So, sync is on, passwords, so payment methods. I've looked at these, addresses and more. What's this? Do you need to take that? All right, unpausing the video. It felt so silly to go to a Google search and search for the answer to that. Turns out it is very simple. But if you try to find it over here where I've been looking, you're not going to find it there. What you want to do is go to a Google page. So
Right.
here Chuck's computer is configured so that when it goes to a new tab, it automatically goes to basically google.com, even though there's no address showing up here. I'm going to actually type google.com and press enter to show we get basically the same thing. And what happens now is we have another profile icon here that we didn't see when we were on the settings page or on the Yahoo page or any other website. But when we're actually on the Google website, we do see that profile icon here. We click on it, and here is sign out. So simple and obvious once you have some clue that it's there. Now, up here, we have paused, which is not quite what I want. I actually want to be logged out, but I think pause is about all we're going to get, because here's a sign in again. So that says we are signed out. So I'm going to close Google Chrome and then reopen it, and it should still be in a paused state.
Yeah.
And your Yahoo still came up, and we can click on this paused and then sign in again here, and it has your email address. We click next, and here it's asking for your password, and we have RoboForm offering some passwords, and one of them it objects to, that it's compromised. Now at the moment we don't know which one of these is right, and this would be the same as your Gmail password.
Okay. Well, you know, I've used a common password for Google.
Yeah, so you should fix that, because that means, and particularly if that's the one that's compromised, that means somebody can access your email account and start operating as you. And what I have found, I've had this happen to clients, where the bad guys don't actually change your password. They don't actually do disastrous things with the people that you're communicating with in bulk. I mean, they don't just start sending them a lot of spam. What they do is they study your emails. And they find out what relationships you have. They find out some stuff about you, and then they try to actually do more of a long con, confidence man type thing. And I've had a law office where the bad guys actually sent an email to the offsite bookkeeper asking what the balance was in the the trust account. That's the account that attorneys keep their clients' proceeds. And the bookkeeper actually responded because that was a normal kind of communication between the senior attorney and the offsite bookkeeper.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And it eventually got down to the point where the bookkeeper received an email giving some kind of wire transfer account information instructing the bookkeeper to transfer multiple tens of thousands of dollars to this wire account. And the bookkeeper, who I spoke to her, she said it looked plausible, it looked believable, and she said, I don't know why, it seemed fishy, so I picked up the phone and called the attorney. And the attorney said, no, I didn't ask you to do that. So it was just by very, I don't know, just that sense that this doesn't quite feel right, even though the bad guys had it pretty well figured out. I don't know if there was some problems with grammar or typos or things like that or what it was. All right, so here, go ahead and put your password in there.
Okay, the one that I normally use?
Yep, because we haven't changed that.
Okay, that should be it.
Go ahead and click next. So it's asking, since you're doing a fresh login, they're wanting some more information to help with your security. They're wanting you to put in your month, day, and year of your birth, and I'm going to blur the screen for that. Go ahead and fill that out. Oh, and I have a guest that just showed up and parked in front of my house, so we're going to have to put an end to this. And go ahead and click Save. And we're still blurred. Confirm that. And click Done. I'm wondering if it's going to, yeah, it didn't prompt you to do a two-factor, set up a two-factor. So, Chuck, I'm going to say that we're going to complete this in this video here. I think you have your task set out for you in going to change some passwords, and you saw how to delete passwords. Now, we didn't check yet, did that get rid of those remembered passwords? So I'm going to come up here to the...
If we check that, then that would be...
Yeah, I'd like to see those gone. Nope, they're still there. So I think you're going to have to delete those individually.
So I would just go to the three dots, click on it, or right-click it?
No, left click.
Okay. Left click and edit password or remove it?
Remove.
All of these need to be removed, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's go down the whole list.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do that, and then maybe in the next day or so we'll get back together and see the progress on RoboForm.
Yes.
Because you have commitments today, I have commitments on this phone, and I got commitments with my auto repair.
Yeah, and we should do some work with two-factor authentications. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we want to look into that next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, catch you later, Chuck. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Doug.
All
Have
right.
a great day.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
We'll probably come back to another session with Chuck, not too distant future, to do some more. If you would like to request a support session for whatever you might need help with your computer, send an email to DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com. Give me an idea of what you'd like to have help with. You don't have to go into a lot of details, a little bit about your availability, time-wise, to come into a Zoom session with me and create a YouTube video that could be useful to other people. Hope that helps. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.